My son's rich in-laws humiliated me at his wedding. They didn't know I owned their company. I, 58M, never wanted to be that parent who interferes in their child's life. But what happened at my son's wedding last weekend has left me questioning everything. My son married into what his in-laws consider a prestigious family, and the way they treated me at the wedding reception still makes my blood boil. I've spent the last week trying to process everything before sharing this, but I need to get this off my chest. Some background. I grew up poor in a small Midwest town, worked my way through community college doing night shifts at a factory, and built my company from nothing. My parents were hardworking immigrants who taught me the value of humility and perseverance. I started my business in my garage, fixing computers for local businesses. Over 30 years, I grew it into a technology solutions company, then expanded into acquisitions and holdings. I've always lived modestly and taught my son the value of hard work. After my wife passed from cancer when he was young, it was just the two of us. I never flaunted my wealth. My son knows I'm comfortable but has no idea about the true extent of my success. I wanted him to build his own path. The problem started during the wedding planning 6 months ago. My son met his wife at graduate school, and they fell in love. She's wonderful, kind, hardworking, and genuinely cares for my son. Her parents, however, are a different story. During the first meeting, they barely acknowledged me, too busy talking about their vacation homes and country club memberships. They insisted on handling all the wedding arrangements, dismissing my offers to contribute as unnecessary. I later learned they told my son they didn't want the wedding, compromised by budget constraints. The wedding was at their country club, an upscale venue that my son's in-laws insisted on. From the moment I arrived, they made snide remarks about my appearance. I wore a simple but well-fitted dark blue suit from my regular tailor, nothing flashy, but appropriate for the occasion. His mother-in-law looked me up and down and loudly commented to her friends about how some people just don't understand proper wedding attire. She then proceeded to point out the designer labels everyone else was wearing, as if clothes determined a person's worth. The ceremony was beautiful, but the reception turned into a parade of subtle insults and condescension. I overheard his father-in-law talking to other guests about how he'd saved my son from his humble beginnings by giving him an entry-level position at their family business, Jensen and Associates, a subsidiary I acquired through my holding company last year, though they don't know this. He went on about how grateful my son should be for this opportunity, completely dismissing my son's MBA and previous work experience. During the cocktail hour, they seated me at a back table with some distant relatives, far from the main wedding party. When I tried to join my son for photos, his mother-in-law actually suggested I wait for the family-only pictures first. My son protested, but I told him it was fine. I didn't want to create a scene. The breaking point came during the speeches. His mother-in-law made several backhanded comments about how their daughter would help elevate my son's status. Then his father-in-law actually suggested that maybe now my son could help me find a better job than mime small business. A few guests laughed uncomfortably, while others just looked embarrassed. I sat there, drinking my water, thinking about how I could end their entire company with a single phone call. The irony was almost funny. Almost. Their company, Jensen and Associates, has been struggling for years due to poor management and failure to adapt to market changes. They have no idea that the mysterious holding company that acquired them last year is mine. I'm the reason they still have jobs and haven't been dissolved into a larger competitor. What really got to me wasn't their attitude toward me. I've dealt with entitled people before. It was watching them treat the waitstaff and vendors with the same condescension. They complained about everything, the temperature of the wine, the timing of the courses, even how the wedding coordinator arranged the escort carts. I saw a young waitress almost in tears after his mother-in-law berated her for accidentally spilling some water. But I kept quiet. This was my son's day, and I wasn't going to ruin it. I smiled, congratulated the happy couple, and even thanked his in-laws for the lovely celebration. My son seemed happy, even if he did shoot me apologetic looks throughout the evening. His wife also seemed mortified by her parents' behavior, constantly trying to include me in conversations and making sure I was comfortable. The next morning, I received a group email from his in-laws to the wedding guests, sharing photos and making more comments about the cultural differences between our families. They included photos where I was barely visible, and the text was full of subtle digs about accepting people from all walks of life and how money isn't everything. That was when I decided enough was enough. I called an emergency board meeting for Monday morning. As the majority shareholder, I had every right to be there. You should have seen their faces when I walked into that boardroom in my usual business attire. His father-in-law actually dropped his coffee mug, creating a rather satisfying mess on his designer suit. I didn't fire them or make a scene. I simply introduced myself as the owner of their parent company and calmly outlined my plans for restructuring the management team. I mentioned that their positions would be evaluated based on merit and performance, using the same condescending tone they'd used at the wedding. I then presented a detailed analysis of their management failures over the past 5 years, including their declining market share and employee turnover rate. The color drained from their faces as I pulled up slides showing exactly how close their company had come to bankruptcy before my acquisition. I explained how their prestigious family business had been hemorrhaging money due to outdated practices and poor leadership. Their smug expressions disappeared when I showed them the numbers they'd been hiding from their board for years. They've been unusually quiet since then. My son called me yesterday, laughing in disbelief. Apparently, his in-laws had a complete change of attitude and were suddenly very interested in having a family dinner to get to know me better. They even offered to host it at their home, promising to keep things simple and casual. Quite a change from their usual insistence on formal dining. The aftermath has been interesting. Word got around their company about who I really was, and I've received dozens of emails from their employees sharing stories about similar treatment they'd endured. It seems the apple didn't fall far from the tree when it came to how they treated people they considered beneath them. I haven't responded to their dinner invitation yet. Part of me wants to decline and let them sweat a little longer, but I probably will accept, for my son's sake. Though this time, I think I'll wear my best suit and maybe mention my plans for international expansion. I might also bring up some of the employee complaints I've received and suggest they take a course in management ethics. The funny thing is, I never cared about their money or status. I just wanted them to treat people with respect, regardless of their perceived wealth. Maybe now they'll learn that lesson. Success isn't about what you own or wear. It's about how you treat others along the way. Am I wrong for finally revealing my position? I didn't do it to show off or get revenge. I just couldn't stand watching them treat others this way, knowing they do the same to their employees. Sometimes the best lessons come from unexpected places. Edit. Since this blew up, I should clarify, I didn't reveal anything during the wedding because it was my son's day. I waited until a proper business setting to address the situation. Also, my son and his wife are good people who didn't share his parents' attitudes. They've built their own life together, and he earned his position at the company through hard work, not nepotism. Edit 2. Thanks for all the awards and support. To those asking, yes, his in-laws still have their jobs for now. Their performance will be evaluated just like any other employee. This isn't about revenge. It's about creating a respectful work environment for everyone. And yes, I've already started implementing changes to improve working conditions and company culture. Edit 3. For those asking about my son's reaction, he always knew I was successful but never knew the extent. We had a long talk after everything came out. He understood why I kept things quiet and agreed that his in-laws needed a reality check. He's actually relieved they finally know, though he wishes it hadn't taken this situation to humble them. Update. We had the family dinner last night. His in-laws were surprisingly humble. Amazing what a little perspective can do. They actually apologized for their behavior at the wedding, though I suspect it's more about job security than genuine remorse. My son and his wife are happy we're all getting along now, though my daughter-in-law is still mortified about her parents' behavior at the wedding. I told her not to worry about it, water under the bridge. Moving forward, I think we'll all be fine as long as everyone remembers that respect isn't something you can buy. Final update. It's been a month since everything happened. The company is undergoing major changes. We've implemented new management training programs focusing on workplace respect and ethical leadership. His in-laws are actually putting in effort to change, though old habits die hard. My son and daughter-in-law are doing great, focused on their own lives and careers. As for me, I'm thinking about finally upgrading my car. Maybe it's time to show my son that vintage Porsche I've been keeping in storage all these years. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.